Hey, I'm Scott.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Doxalogic, where we help you think with your Bible.
Okay, first question reads like this. Is the Bible Project biblically correct?
Okay, Bible
So specific.
Project. Tim Mackey is the most well-known. He's got a ministry partner with the Bible Project, doesn't he? Or is it largely his?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
He has a partner
He does.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
But Tim Mackey's the lead.
Tim Mackey's the lead guy. I will say, kind of historically, I can think of many times where I've really appreciated his condensed way of describing a biblical topic or a book of the Bible
Sure.
and describing what the narrative is, how it points to Christ, all these things.
Yep.
And yet the question comes in part now because there are legitimate concerns these days about directions that he's just opening up. Either confusing or at the very least unclear. Like, wait a minute, man, where are you on some of these important issues?
Yeah, right. So without getting into it, again, these are questions just flying at us, so we're responding. And I know sometimes people get a little bit upset. It's like, hey, if you don't know the extent of these things, we don't try to talk about what we don't know anyway. But to say what I have heard is there's some concerns about his doctrine of hell. There's concerns about the way he speaks about the atonement, particularly that aspect of propitiation, which seems to not, stays away from the wrath of God being satisfied in the death of Christ for sinners. And, but I think it's better rather than going, here are these things. And I think there are some concerns, and I think people have noted those concerns, and I think some of them are serious concerns. But the way I would look at it is, develop a solid biblical theology yourself, and then you can leverage certain aspects of the Bible Project. To your point, I do really enjoy the Bible book overviews and how it kind of divides it up into chapters and stuff. That those things are helpful, and they're not all unbiblical. So the question of, are they biblical? A lot of it is biblical, and there's some views that the lead guy, the creator, Tim Mackey, seems to perpetrate now that are simply concerning, and they are concerning. And if that stuff is finding its way, and I don't know the ins and outs of the Bible Project, I don't use the Bible Project in any consistent way, but look for it, be aware of it. And I think the person asking the question is really, in a sense, answering their own question, which is, you've got your antennas peaked by merely asking us, and I'm going to affirm, keep your antenna peaked. But I would affirm that in a lot of ways across the board.
Right, I was just going to say,
keep your antenna peaked across the board.
There are precious few living today people that are, let's call them noteworthy, well-known, famous within, evangelical circles, precious few that you don't have to qualify at all. There's either call it a scandal, call it an issue, a church leadership thing, a theological thing, a tradition they come from, on and on we could go. And so I am getting more and more tired or whatever of this, personally, I've come to really appreciate a large portion of what this person might do or say. But I'm aware there's some sensitivities, and so when I'm maybe public facing or something, I'm gonna maybe bring in a little bit, but shy away from using this person's name because people overreact or whatever, and I'm kind of over that. And so there are just very, very few, if really any, that you wouldn't say, there's a couple of things here that you need to be concerned about.
Well, and I think about it too from the perspective of, while they're still living, there's still a question mark of where they're going to go. Dead people are easier because you just know their whole story, right? So you can quote a John Stott and say, he was involved in the evangelicals and Catholics together. If you
even
need to
some
make
of the
that
ugly
nuance.
parts.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
But his story is finite and finished.
Finished.
So you can have a lot more comfort. The problem with quoting guys today is they can move. And I think to the question, I don't either. Tim Mackey's held some of those views that are concerning and people are making note of, which you could get online if you just Google some of these things. Even if you Googled the question, you get it online. What are the concerns? He either held those concerns before and that wasn't clear, or he's moved in that trajectory over time. Either way, the fact that he's alive, making videos, all that stuff, is to say we should be concerned about everyone in that sense, that we all have the ability, unfortunately, to go rogue in some way theologically, and therefore we should be concerned. So yes, I think it's good to have your antennas up, and we also think that there's a lot of good things on the Bible Project. So,
It's not the next thing we'll be canceling. it's not our job to do,
Yeah.
you know, and just not interested in weighing into that level that we have to like put basically the whole conscience thing comes up
Sure.
again, right? Trying to tell this person now you can't. Not going to be the thing you're going to find us doing.
Yeah, and I guess for me too, it's hard because it's not my go-to. I don't go, oh, I'm going to study the book of blah, blah, blah. Let's see what the Bible Project says about
Yeah.
it. That's just not personally my thing. So if that's your thing, then yeah, I would definitely say you all the more should have your antenna peaked if that's the first place you go to study a book of the Bible or something like that. But yeah, it would be peripheral from how I would see it anyway,
Yeah,
in
that's
terms
fair.
of what
Yeah.
the Bible Project is.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
You've been listening to Doxalogic, a podcast by Doxa Church in Rockland, California. To learn more, visit us online at doxa.church.